really. All right. We're going to be going over FRQs for Unit 2, but I'm only going to go over my favorite ones. Uh-oh, now they know. Okay. Number 1 is not one of my favorite ones, mostly because it's really out of date. It's about the 1992 and 96 presidential campaign. Ooh. So, but I do think you should know regions of the country. Do you know your regions? All right. You still need to outline it, even if I don't love it. But you know that next week's going to be do the other 5.
Oh.
Yeah, that's the thing. I'm just trying to break up your homework so that I don't tell you next week, do 10, because that sucks. Except for right now during Saturday school when you have an hour. Where is the West? Number 1. Where is the South? 5. Where's the Midwest?
3.
2.
Ooh, only one person got it. 4. This is the Midwest. I don't know why they, because you want to think like Midwest, like West. No. I think they call it the Midwest because back when the country started, like that was the West. You know what I mean? Midwest is like Wisconsin. Oh, don't you know? Eat your cheese, don't you know? Where is New England?
6.
All right, you know that one. And then I don't even know. This is called what? The Southwest?
Great Plains. Oh.
Yeah? Well, this is Great Plains too. Either way, whatever. Did no one even... Oh, here it is. Okay. Actually, let me move this. I don't really have a name. Well, this right here is the Southwest. This is obviously not the Southwest, but they don't all have names. I just want to make sure you know regions, sort of. And then it's like, why did one way vote a certain way? You need to know the West is more liberal. It's more like nature-y. We have more cities. And those things make you more liberal. Like liberals live in cities. Democrats live in cities. Republicans live in rural areas. So then another part of this question is Republicans live in like number 5 because that's a farmland. And then Democrats live in number 6 and number 1 because major cities are there. Okay. We can like hold off on the outlining until we get to one that I'm a big fan of. Yeah, I don't love to. The 3 obstacles below have made it difficult for Congress to pass campaign reform. Select 2 of them and basically kind of explain them. Buckley v. Vallejo is that court case where the rich guy tried to spend a lot on his own campaign and then they sued him like, hey, you can't do that, and he won. You can do that. Soft money, I will teach on the next class. But incumbency is when you already have an office and you're running again. Mundo, you paying attention back there?
Yes.
Okay. There's the answers. You didn't put a link. You didn't put a link. FRQ 2. Katie and Brianna.
Mr. Robinson, everything up there, I did. No, I...
You mean you pressed Control C and Control V? Okay. Anyway, there it is. I guess you don't need to link too much because that's probably the whole thing. Okay, FRQ 3. Did I say I like 3?
Yes.
3 says... Now, this is one of those ones where don't just write down 2 things because I want you to write down more. Tell me 2 ways that people participate in politics that's not voting. And then tell me advantages of doing it that way. And then we have this nice table that has it laid out really good. So we're going to write down on our paper 3 or 4 things, but not all of them. Okay? So let's not do litigation, but that means filing lawsuits. Like a gay couple doesn't have rights, they file a lawsuit. That's participating in politics. But I don't think that you should pick it because we are yet to really learn about it. Yes? Let's write down 3 to 4 that you are most likely going to remember. You're going to remember protest. I think you will. You're going to remember contacting the newspaper or contacting your representative. Has anyone ever called a representative? Last year I had APGov call a representative about net neutrality and stuff. It didn't work. You're going to remember donating, campaign contribution, donating. And you're going to remember political discussion to persuade your friends or enemies. And then it asks you what's good about your method Why is your method good? So you gotta write down part B also. Some of the, it's like, sometimes APGov FRQs are frustrating, like, it's kind of weird. Like, what's good about persuading your friends? And the answer is, it brings others' attention to the issues. Like, oh, okay. Yeah, thanks for stating the obvious, but alright. I'm gonna pause the video so I'm not just sitting here for a while. Alright, unpause the video, recording again. I like FRQ4, so let's look at it. Did I leave that on there? Oops. I don't even know. It says, describe how each of the following is related to likelihood of voting. Very easy. Age and education. I think this is the FRQ we could all hit a grand slam on today. Young people do not vote as much. Old people are more likely. Please be careful in your wording here. Don't say young people never vote and old people always vote. That is not true. Young people, be professional and collegiate. Young people are less likely to vote. Older people are more likely to vote. That covers you better. Don't speak in absolutes. Young people have never voted in the history of time. That is not true. Flash it. And then we have B and C. Explain one government requirement that makes people vote less. Skipping ahead to the next slide here. I'm going to go with registration. Registration? What's a word to describe our registration process?
Cumbersome.
Cumbersome. Right? From our multiple choice. The registration process is cumbersome. Tedious is great. Cucumber. How do I open this?
You just click it.
It didn't work.
Oh.
I was clicking it. I'm gonna look and see. Does it only pick one? Identify one. Let's write notes on a couple. I don't want like 200 papers that all say cumbersome registration. How about, I like this, limited opportunities to vote. We always vote on a Tuesday. And some people work 2 jobs and they can't get off work to go vote. Some states require you show identification. Sometimes you're on vacation and you can't get an absentee ballot. This is why, for the key, I wanted you guys to put like all the possible answers. I'm glad you got the link though. Age. So yeah, pretty obvious, but you got to be 18 to vote. The next part of the question. You only one time in this whole unit have I said the word linkage institution. You remember the very first notes? You don't even remember. It's the first note of the first notes. Anyway, you have to know the 4 linkage institutions. It is, well, and then one of them is other than elections. So it's also parties, media, and interest groups. They're things that connect us to our government. And then you're supposed to say 2 ways they connect us. I think we should look at as they say down here, look at the link. There it is, media, interest groups, and parties. And there's the key. Spoiler alert, if I do this question, I'm not going to include letter C because we haven't really learned all of the link, that'd be messed up. We're going to learn the rest of them next unit. I would never ask you a question we haven't really learned. So, but your homework is still to write down some answers. So you could put like the media. Is it just name one? Yeah. And you can say like ways that it connects us. Okay, I would do the media right now. I'm going to pause the video while you do your thing. We're about to move on. I already told you I'm not a fan of this last part, so I don't want to spend too much time on it. What were we saying? The kids were asking, how come we can do bullets on the outline? Which, by the way, don't write these big, long outlines, kids at home. Long as in like full sentences and paragraphs. Instead, do bullets. The answer is because for the big AP test in May, you can't do bullets, so I'm not going to let you do bullets for my FRQs. But this is just homework practice. Next question! I didn't like this one. I kind of really don't like this one, except, I don't know, except that analyzing graphs is important. What's the topic of this graph? What region of the country? The South. And it's like about Democrats. It's about Democrats and their seat. Basically, they used to be powerful in the South, and the graph shows you how they're not powerful anymore. You see how it goes down to like 0? Yeah. And then the question is about like, why are they not powerful anymore? It's a pretty hard question, actually. A smart question. What I don't like is this. I don't like that part of it. What I do like is this. But, yeah, I can see you worked very hard. Control C and Control V. Two-step process. We're going to go to 6. I can't read lips. It's open down the hall. Do you need to go to the restroom, Brianna? It's down the hall. Sorry, that's on video. Okay. Question 6. I told you I like this one. Describe the winner-take-all feature of the Electoral College. You should be able to do this without even checking the key. What that means is, in each and every state, whoever gets the most votes of that state gets all the points. Did you sign up? Do it. In each and every state, whoever gets the most votes wins all the points of the state. Letter B. Tell me one way in which the winner-take-all feature affects how the two political parties run their campaigns. Well, people will focus on large, competitive, swing states that they stand a chance of winning. They don't go to states where they have no chance of winning. And it's just exactly what you guys wrote. The winner-take-all feature affects candidates because they focus more on competitive swing states. Letter C. Tell me why the winner-take-all feature hurts third-party candidates. The winner-take-all feature hurts third-party candidates because they might get a lot of popular votes but no electoral votes. Example, Ross Perot got 20% of vote but no electoral votes. It's a good example. He did well in the election, got no electoral votes. And then letter D, why will we never get rid of the Electoral College? What's 2 reasons why it's never been abolished? It benefits small states, and they wouldn't want to change it. And then to change the Constitution is a very difficult process, like incredibly difficult. This key is a little light on the letter D. So let's look at the full. Does this allow me to copy paste? Nope. So remember that the letter D is a explain verb. Actually, I mean they're all big verbs. So when you do this question, if you do this question, write more than the one sentence this person provided you. They're just giving you basically bullet points. You got to write more. Okay. Here's the full answer about why. It would require a constitutional amendment, and that's really hard. There's no clear alternative. I think Control C doesn't work. Because sometimes the doc is like copyright. Yeah, see? Control C doesn't work. Otherwise, this group would have done that, I think. Some documents you can, and some you can't. Yep. If they check a box on the PDF that's like copyright infringement, then you can't copy it. I'm going to pause and wait for you to catch up. Okay, going back to C on FRQ 6, there was some confusion, so I want to explain. Like, what's the difference between electoral vote and popular vote? For instance, Hillary Clinton won the popular vote. She got like 50% of the vote in America, and Trump got like 48 or something. But he won the electoral vote, which is getting 270 or more points of the states. So popular vote is the whole nation, like who votes yes, who votes no. That's popular vote, but that's not how you become president. You become by winning the states. Go ahead.
So the popular vote is like what the people want.
Yeah.
But don't the people
Yeah.
states?
Let me, how do I explain? You can try, yeah.
It's like
People at home, I just did an example on the board. but you weren't here. There it is. Okay, try to decipher it. I don't know. Okay. Did it make sense? Is that clear? Okay. Okay. Moving on to FRQ 7. I'm gonna be honest with you. I really just like A. Describe a valid scientific public opinion poll. And could you do that without looking? What's a valid? What are some characteristics? What would it have? A good poll.
Randomized sample.
Random sample, good.
A large.
What? Give me a specific number.
Oh, 15,000. No,
Too much.
1,500.
Yeah. You were a digit off. A randomized sample. You could say, or no one's going to say that, a representative sample. So here's the two I like best. A large sample size, which I think you should be specific and say, did we say 1,500 to 2,000, or did we say 1,000 to 1,500? Okay. And a random sample, but there are other answers too. I'm not as big a fan of the other parts of this question. So instead of talking about each of them, you can just look at what's up there and yeah. We got 17 minutes. I'm gonna pause the video while you guys. Okay, moving on. FRQ 8. I like it. It means you're interpreting a graph here. The graph is always look at the title of the graph. It's the rate of incumbent re-election. So if you already hold a position and you're running again, how often do you get re-elected? One of the lines is the House and one of the lines is the Senate. Question A says identify two patterns. Important thing when it asks you for a pattern, that means that it's never like one point in time. It's something you're noticing going across the whole graph. Whose re-election rate is higher?
House of Reps.
House of Reps. So one pattern is the House of Reps has a higher re-election rate than the Senate. Whose is more, how would you describe the Senate line? Yeah, we'll say that it's more volatile, or it fluctuates more, or it's less consistent. The Senate is less consistent. Let's check the key. Oh, that's literally the key. Cool. There's more answers though. No link. Is this your guys's?
Yeah.
No link? Oh, because it's old. Yeah, it's an old question. We talked about that. Yeah, what else? Was there any other answers on Quizlet, or that was it? I think with the Senate, you still would say the re-election rate is quite high. Would you agree? Because it's all over like 60 pretty much. Okay. Question B is everything else is no longer related to the graph. Identify two factors that contribute to the incumbency advantage. Remember I talked about like how much I was going to like this or whatever, so hint hint. What's something that helps an incumbent get reelected, guys? Name recognition, good. What else? Franking privilege, yep. And those are the two that they chose on the key. I like that you put the little details in there. There's also like, how do you say? They have more money. Yeah, the campaign staff is already set. They have more money than the challenger, almost always. Yeah, that's the franking. That's right here. Yeah. Okay. Make sure you can describe these things. Don't just be like, they have franking and then nothing. You gotta pretend like I don't know what franking means. What was the question? Let's look at the last part of the question. Describe one consequence of incumbency advantage. Consequence can be good and bad. So what's something good about incumbency? I actually think that's an easier argument to make for the essay. But why is that good for America? No, it's not that. I didn't hear what you said. You lost confidence.
Incumbency is like when they're already in office.
And they keep winning again and again. Why would that be good? They would have more experience. That's one of the positives, is that you have people with more experience, and then you got bad stuff. I feel like that's not my favorite way of wording an answer. Is that what Quizlet said? I think I would say, I would rephrase, I wouldn't do that one. I would say that it leads to, like, the same people, like, no new blood, no new ideas in the Congress. Yeah, like, one consequence is that very few new faces and ideas are brought to Congress and things stagnate, yada yada. So, like, you're not getting new people, you're not getting new ideas. That's why I told you, I think it's easier to describe that, like, the good stuff, that it makes them more experienced. That's actually an easier argument to make on an essay. Even though I totally disagree and I hate incumbency advantage and I wish we had term limits and blah, blah, blah. I'm gonna wait for you. I am gonna go over 9, we're recording again. Tell me 2 reasons why we are not voting as much. And then tell me 2 reasons why people vote more for the president than midterms. It's that's a good question. It's very simple, but it's a good question. Why do we vote less? We have a larger electorate when we let 18-year-olds vote from 21. Are you paying attention? You're on your phone. Pay attention. It's a good question. We have a larger electorate because we allowed younger people to vote, and it kind of hurt the overall turnout. Can you explain that? It's not just the age thing. There's also minorities now vote that they did. Like, it's larger. People have more population. What else do I like? I like these down here. I wouldn't do 2 of these. I would do 1 of, like, the younger people thing, and I do 1 of these because they're all very similar.
Too busy to vote?
Yeah, like jobs and can't find the time. Yeah, and then some people believe their vote doesn't matter. And then super similar to that is a lack of trust in government. I wouldn't do both of those because they're so similar. It feels like repetition.
On the key, it says that you can combine them all to make one.
Oh, really?
Are you serious?
Down the key, it says like the last 3 can be combined to make one argument.
So you can't repeat like those
It says
3?
you shouldn't.
That's basically what I never knew that was on the key. But that's how I feel too. They're too similar. I wouldn't use that argument like
says
first.
cynicism, efficacy, apathy not counted separately unless made clearly distinct and
Okay.
explanation.
I totally agree with that logic, yeah. So if you can't hear that at home, just use 1 of these, don't use all 3. And that means pick another one over here. So, like, I like this one. If you can explain it. Maybe just focus on the age, that it used to be 21 and now it's 18, and that hurt our overall percentage. Yeah.
Like, for the actual test, how do we know we're able to combine it as much?
You don't.
Because would it count as 1
Be-
or 2?
Like she was saying, only a really good writer is the College Board going to say you had, like, these were distinctly different ideas. But if you're just like, people think their vote doesn't matter and they don't trust the government, and you said that all in 1 sentence, they're not going to see that as, like, 2 separate arguments.
Okay.
It's just basically, it's all about your strength of writing. To me, that's way too risky. I would just mention, like, 1 of those and then another. And then, tell me why people vote for president and not midterms. Lots of possible good answers here. The media pays way more close attention to a presidential election. There's way more money spent, so that you're paying attention because there's way more money spent. There's a perception of a greater importance of the president than Congress. People made a way bigger deal about Trump becoming president than they do, like, when Congress becomes Republican. It's, like, less of a big deal. So those are 3 of my favorite answers. And I think you need to pick 2 and explain. What's that? I like those ones. And then up here, I like this, and I like this. We are just about done. Do I like 10?
You said you liked D.
I just like D.
Yeah.
I'm gonna move on to 10 because we just have 5 minutes. it says define these things. I mean, A is pretty good. Define an open primary. Define a caucus. Yep. What I don't like is B and C. I think those are kind of hard and really specific, that I don't think our class gets that specific. Also, this is changing today, so I wouldn't ask you about that. But I could see asking you about A, and I could see asking you about D. Do you understand that difference in strategy when you're running for the primaries versus the general election? For the primaries, I'm going to go to Iowa. I'm going to go to New Hampshire. For the general election, if I'm Republican, I know that I might lose New Hampshire. I might never visit there at all. Okay, so your focus changes. So what do I like for you to write down? I like this, and I like this. And we're done.